I am planning to stay here to the day that I die. Hello friends and family, this is Megan Bowen, aka Tell the Biguksaram. So you guys know I've been in Korea for 7 years. 7 years. I'm getting old. And you guys know that I love my life here because as of now, I am planning to stay here to the day that I die. But anyway, you get the point. You know I love my life here. But of course, that doesn't mean that Korea is not without things that stress me out. So you guys know basic ones probably. A lot of people probably talked about like taking public transportation. You get on the buses and then before you even can like sit down or grab onto a handle, the bus driver like drives off. So you like almost trip and fall. And like they're being so crowded that you're literally stuck like this in the subway. People coming and like pushing you like some American football players to get out of the way, to get out of the doors and stuff like that. And like, yeah, you know, besides the regular things, I thought I would share some other things that stress me out here in Korea. So let's start. Number 1. Squat toilets. Enough said. I mean, depending on where you are nowadays, most places will have the option on left side to have squat toilets and on the right side to have the, I don't know what to call them, Western toilets. But if you go into old buildings, sometimes you really have to go to the bathroom, all they have are the squat toilets. And when I first came to Korea, where I worked, by my office, there was just squat toilets only. Me, never having encountered a squat toilet before in my life, I was so confused. I was like, how do I use this toilet? And me, being the dumb foreigner that I am, I thought you had to pull your pants all the way down in order to use it. So I literally would like take my pants all the way off and like take off my shoes and like step on them and like squat down and go. And then until one day I finally just asked someone and they're like, you don't have to do that. You can just like pull them slightly down and squat like this. But then it's stressful because when you do that, there's no guarantee that the flow of urine is gonna go straight down. So literally, like for me, it always goes to the right. Then it gets on the bottom of my pants leg, on my shoe, on my socks, and I'm just like, this is so stressful. Every time, I cannot get it to go straight down. Come on. So yeah, needless to say, I still find myself very stressed out when there's only a squat toilet because I'm like, I know my pants leg is gonna get slightly wet. Maybe that was TMI. So the next one happens especially because I tend to take taxis a lot. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 아가씨야, 아줌마야? And then I realized, oh, I'm getting at that age where I look like, hey, you don't look like no spring chicken no more, girl. So let's take these two words, 아가씨, which means unmarried woman, and ajima, which means married woman. I know a lot of you think of ajimas as like the slightly older middle-aged women on the subway with like the short haircuts and stuff like that, but ajima literally just means married woman. But still, it's like, oh, when I get married this year, I'm gonna be an ajima. No. And just in general, that whole age-related pressure, I've noticed like in Korea, once you reach certain ages, there's a lot of pressure from people to be doing certain parts or certain things like in your life, etc. It's a lot stronger for Korean people, but me, even as a foreigner who's just integrated in society, I feel it too. So this one is very interesting. So when you're a foreigner in Korea, your name and your registration are exactly the way it's entered in your passport. Exactly. So whenever you sign up for any type of online service or when you get packages that come from abroad and they get delivered and it has to go through customs, everybody has to sign up for a customs number. It starts with a P. However, certain delivery companies, they have a thing that you have to fill out separately, right? And it doesn't recognize spaces in names. And because my name has to be put exactly the way it is on the passport, there are spaces in it. Because you know, Korean people don't have spaces in their names and they're much shorter characters. So sometimes it doesn't even give you enough space to put your whole name in it. And then it's like, oh man. So they will always send me a nice text message, and every time I get it, I get so stressed out because it always delays my package for another day. So when I'm doing stuff like that, I have to, in my mind, know that it's going to take one extra day because of that. So they send me a thing that says requesting mismatched entry information. So because it doesn't recognize spaces in my name, it's like, hey, this is not the name on the passport. But I'm like, yeah, you don't recognize spaces in names. So How am I gonna do that? So then they always call and they have to like manually enter it in every single time. So yeah. And actually now that I think about it, there's a lot of other things that are a little bit like kind of stressful if you're a foreigner, in terms of like paperwork, etc. If your name is not like a Korean name, there's a lot of situations where you have to make extra calls to get stuff done. So maybe I should make a separate video about that. So the next thing actually recently just got better, and that was the throwing away of trash situation in Korea. So in Korea, there are several different trash bags that you buy from the government. Instead of, you know how in Western countries, I don't know how it works in your country, but at least in America, you just pay a monthly fee and then they come and pick up your trash, like, you know, whatever days of the week that are specified. But in Korea, that system is not there, and what happens is you actually buy bags for certain trash, and I guess the money goes to the government people who come and like pick it up. And so you have to get separate ones though, like you have to get 일반 쓰레기 and you have to get 음식물 쓰레기. So one just for regular trash and one for like food trash. And then usually when you throw stuff away, you have to make sure you recycle everything, which is fine, but it's the food trash that's slightly stressful, because you just got this pile of like old food on your counter. And when I first came here, I was like, can I just throw it in the toilet? So I literally got to the point where I would throw anything that's kind of watery, that's not gonna clog up the toilet. I just kind of throw it in the toilet, because I figure if you're throwing up or you're pooping, it's the same thing, right? So what I learned was, instead of keeping the bag of food trash like just out on the counter where it's gonna like smell bad and stuff, was I keep my food trash bag in the freezer. However, the new apartment complex that I moved to, it actually has a really cool like government system where it has boxes set up by the government and you register on the government website. And when you do that, they give you like a special card, and then you go and click the card and you can have your trash in whatever container you want, and you just pour your food trash into this big machine, and then it just registers how heavy it was with the government, and then you just pay like a monthly fee based on how heavy your food trash was. So I'm okay now, but at first that was something that like, it was a little bit stressful. The biggest thing that stresses me out sometimes is the noise, like neighborly noise. At least where I'm from in America, it's not a big city, so people usually live in houses. Even as a college student, like we would rent houses together and it's totally affordable. So we still have our own private space. We don't have to deal with neighbors upstairs being noisy or next to us being noisy, coming in at night being drunk and yelling and getting into fights. You can literally hear your neighbors when they get into fights, when they're doing the boom boom, and everything you literally can hear. Because we're in apartments, and especially older apartments, I feel like the walls are just so thin, you could hear everything. So that was something that was really stressful for me, but I had to get a white noise machine. I turned that thing on, and I sleep with earplugs, and that's the only way that I can go to sleep, because people are just too loud. And you can literally hear the doom, 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 like feet stomping so well in Korea. And actually there's a government website where you can actually go and register noisy neighbors, and then they'll come and like investigate. And actually you can sue people for damages if it's been a lot of years that they've been making noise and stuff like that, which is very interesting. So handle noise in a legal way. Just saying. And this one's kind of random, and it might just be me because I'm the kind of person who like, I tend to think about how to prepare in case of emergency. And so, you know, in Korea, because it's apartments, and even if you live in like a villa kind of situation, your door pad probably most likely won't have a key and will be an electronic door pad. And I can't tell you how many times the battery has just like died on me when I was trying to get into the house. And that was so stressful for me. So what I learned is that there's always a secret place. If you have a 9-volt battery, you can actually, each one is different, but there's a place where you can put a 9-volt battery, and then it will give it enough juice to open that one time. Always keep a 9-volt battery with you. And just in case, I change the batteries in my door every year. I know they can probably go longer than a year, because I swear when I moved into this first place, I stayed there for 2 years, and then the batteries were already there. I don't know when the previous owner changed the batteries. So I'm kind of anal about those batteries, and I like to change them every year. And keep a 9-volt battery with me just in case, because that ain't fun. So that's a nice hack of the day. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube page, which is down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, like me on Facebook. Let's see, yeah. I don't use Snapchat anymore, but I got so used to saying that, because like that's my outro, so like that's what I do. But ignore that, there's no Snapchat. Mr. Taxi, 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 taxi.